What was your mission in earlier years when luxury was not focused on sustainable fashion?
So when we first started Model Top, we did so because we've always believed that you should be able to create beautiful things that are also having a beautiful impact for the people involved in the making of those products and for the environment. And so in 2002, when we started Model Top, initially using design and working with artisans in East Africa, it was natural for us to work with crafts that we found where we were using 100% waste materials. But at that time, it wasn't considered cool to be using recycled. It wasn't popular, and people weren't looking for a product that was made from waste materials. They were almost like shocked that we were doing that, But because we always set out to really make beautiful design and functional design, even using waste materials, it was already successful. We were already selling the product and supporting artisans and raising money for the education projects that we've supported and raising awareness about important social and environmental issues, because we realized very early in our journey that physical products, are very powerful in terms of helping people to understand certain issues. And when we're talking about the kind of complicated social and environmental issues that we face today, physical products can embody and symbolize these issues and can symbolize and be examples of solutions. So when we talk about the importance of recycling day to day in our homes or in our communities, to actually have a beautiful fashion item that is also functional, that is also a symbol of recycling, a symbol of the importance of not wasting things, and choosing, looking after, protecting, repairing. It's so important, because when these big issues are only, kind of in our minds out here, it's very hard for us to think about how we can take action in our daily lives. So for us, the bands and the products that we make are ways to help people feel like they can be part of the solution and to remind people that everyone makes a difference,
The brand invites people to join goals that benefit us all. What actions can we support from Mexico?
So I think, again, with Together Band, it's really about helping people to think and act in a very personal way. I think we all have different spheres of influence. Some of us have more resources than others, but there are things that everybody can do. I think in Mexico there are, there's big challenges with inequality. There's big challenges around on an environmental level in terms of, fossil fuel consumption. There's big challenges in terms of clean water and sanitation. The first major activation that we did with Together Band here was during the pandemic. We did a Together live concert with the guys from Rake, the band, and we did the big campaign to raise money and awareness for the importance of clean water and sanitation. We were installing clean water hand washing stations in Central Anabastos, and we created a field hospital for people to get testing for COVID, because obviously Mexico was very, very seriously impacted by the COVID pandemic. And so that was happening as an example of an activation that we were doing in Mexico on a national level. But really what we're doing here today in partnership with Supercool and with Formula E is helping people to think about the individual actions that each of us can take. Whether that's trying to think more about, okay, maybe I can have a plant-based meal 2 or 3 times a week. Maybe I don't need to eat quite so much meat. Maybe I can think about not using the dryer in my home for my clothes to dry, which is a way of... Everything counts. It's all about the small actions. So again, our invitation with Together Band has always been to invite people to choose the SDG that really resonates with our hearts. So the color of this one is like no poverty. zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, and so on. And because each of the colors represents something fundamental. So, for example, I'm wearing the green of climate action. I've got lots of mosquito bites because I was in the Amazon rainforest last week visiting our project there. And actually, this other version of our Together band is made in the Amazon rainforest with an indigenous community called the Yawanawa. And so this is made from food waste, illegal firearm metal, and also ocean plastic, like our other classic Together bands. So these are all different kinds of Together bands using those materials. And so again, the friendship bracelets have always been easy ways to communicate cause and to communicate mission and purpose and things that we care about. And so by wearing my band for climate action, it's a personal reminder, it's a conversation starter, and it just, it's going to help me to just keep these things top of mind when I'm running around. We're all busy day to day, trying to survive, trying to live our lives, and it's how do we weave these conversations into our day to day,
Let's talk about design and technology. We may think that an accessory has no technology. Could you tell us more about it?
Anyone can buy their Together bands online at togetherband.org. So that's, everyone globally can order their Together band online at togetherband.org, and they can buy their, bottle top pieces at bottletop.com or bottletop.org. And the question about technology is a really important one, because I think now that the general public is understanding more about the importance, the critical urgency, I should say, around these issues, both on a climate level and on an inequality level. We have to address the economic inequality that exists around the world, and in Mexico, there's a lot of inequality, and how materials and technology can play a huge part of that solution. Whether that's the technology that's enabling us to collect plastic from the ocean and turn that into, yarn and fabric and materials, or the technology that's enabling us to take metal that was once like a gun or a handgun and turn that into the metal of our clasps, or whether that's the technology that we're seeing here at Formula E and that Supercool, our partner, is using to help speed the transition from fossil fuels to clean energy. And I think that's the big reason that we're here today, is because if we're globally going to achieve, the net zero targets that we need to achieve by 2050, we already need to reduce fossil fuel emissions and greenhouse gases by half by 2030. How do we do that? We have to transform the impacts, the negative impacts that we're having on a day-to-day level, particularly through transportation. And so obviously Formula E is a powerful way to help people realize and to reimagine, transportation, and that we can still live our lives in incredible ways using electric transportation. And what Supercool are doing is really enabling that transition to happen from cars and buses and trains and scooters using, petrol and fossil fuels to electric, to electricity, clean electricity at speed and at scale, because they're creating these electric mobility centers around the world in key places. The first one is here in Puebla, in Mexico. The second one will be in Mexico City, and then they're rolling out in Boston, in Brooklyn, in Dubai, around the world. And in each of those cities, people will be able to go to the Supercool Center and understand, okay, what are my options? What can I afford in terms of electric car or an electric scooter, or in terms of public transport that's using, electric, clean electricity as well? How do I understand about the charging of my vehicle, and how can that happen faster and at scale? So I think the question about technology is fundamental. It's like, fortunately, we're living in an age where, there are incredible new technologies that we have to adopt, we have to use to really drive the kind of progress on an environmental level as quickly as possible.